What's going on, everybody? So welcome back to another episode of the Criterion Corner, where I pull some of my favorite films from the Criterion collection and talk about them at length. I've been really enjoying doing this segment, and I think it's a lot of fun to see what you guys think about these films. And today I'm going to talk about a filmmaker who means quite a bit to me, and that's Wes Anderson. I've talked about Wes only one other time on my channel, and that was to discuss his newest film, The French Dispatch. But Wes is one of those filmmakers that I was introduced to in my young adult life who really made me fall in love with filmmaking as a medium. I really credit him and Edgar Wright to being two filmmakers who really made me fall in love with film and wanted to make movies and wanted to go pursue a degree in film as a whole. There's so many movies in Wes's catalog that are worth talking about. And for my first time talking about something in his catalog that wasn't new, I wanted to talk about my favorite of Wes's films. And this is probably one of the older Criterion releases that I own. But the film I'm going to be talking about today is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou is directed by Wes Anderson. Renowned oceanographer Steve Zissou, played by Bill Murray, has sworn vengeance upon the rare shark that devoured a member of his crew. In addition to his regular team, he is joined on his boat by Ned, a man who believes Zissou to be his father, and Jane, a journalist pregnant by a married man. They travel the sea all too often, running into pirates and, perhaps more traumatically, various figures from Zissou's past, including his estranged wife, Eleanor. I know for a fact, after reading a lot of interviews with Wes, that this is one of his movies that he kind of has mixed opinions on, because it was one of the first times he was working with a really large budget, and he said that kind of got into his head a little bit as far as the scale of the film. And I know that he's not in love with everything about it, but there's something about this movie that I keep coming back to it, and I just think it truly is one of the most brilliant films he's ever made. A lot of Wes's films are about these father and son relationship dynamics, specifically this. The Darjeeling Limited has that. If you look at the Royal Tenenbaums, there's so much, even Fantastic Mr. Fox at periods has these relationships of dads and their kids, and this movie explores it in such a brilliant way. As far as, I love Bill Murray's performance in this. It's probably next to Lost in Translation, one of my favorite Bill Murray performances. What's great about it is he's not a good person, and he does some really terrible things. There's glimmers of him having the capability of being a good person, but he's really not. And when Owen Wilson shows up in this film as his son Ned is truly a good person. He's a lovable, charismatic human being who just wants his dad in his life. And their relationship is so interesting, and watching them develop over time throughout these typical Wes Anderson quirky moments that kind of are over the top. It's just beautiful. And the third act of this movie always makes me cry. It is just such an emotional and moving piece of film. And I love the aesthetics of this movie. As far as cinematography goes, I know people will say, Budapest Hotel has brilliant cinematography. His newest film, The French Dispatch, is amazing, but I love the setting of the ship on this film. I think that it's absolutely amazing. I love when Bill Murray's first introducing it, and you get that shot of him outside where Wes has worked with these people to build the scale of the ship, and how the camera kind of moves around to the different compartments of the boat and kind of familiarizing you with it. And it has those typical Wes Anderson hallmarks to the film. But there's so many emotional dynamics and character dynamics in this film that I love. I really love his rivalry with Jeff Goldblum's character. There's that scene with Bill Murray's dog, and where Jeff Goldblum just smacks the dog out of nowhere, and it always makes me laugh so fucking hard. Wes Anderson has just this such a unique sense of humor that no other filmmaker has, and I love just the dark, deadpan, real-life nature of the comedy that comes through. But I like that even though Jeff Goldblum's character is the enemy in this, that he's provided so much depth in the film, and you actually kind of turn on the way you feel about him, and you like him towards the third act of this movie. Cate Blanchett's in this, she's brilliant. I love Willem Dafoe's character in this movie. I think that he is just so funny and charismatic, and his relationship with Bill Murray's great, and you can tell Bill Murray loves the man who passed away by the shark at the beginning of the film, and just wants to get revenge on him. And that's really the whole plot of the film, is him trying to figure out how to track this down and kill it, but having this new introduction of his son into his life. I love all of those different dynamics, and they're so brilliantly explored. And you get Bill Murray running into his ex-wife, Anjelica Huston, who whenever she shows up in a Wes Anderson movie, she's just fucking phenomenal. Seu Jorge in this movie, who does the score, some of the score, where he performs these David Bowie songs in Portuguese, are just phenomenal. His voice is so beautiful, and it just really creates that aesthetic that the film is going for, that I love so very dearly. I actually managed to score a copy of that on vinyl a while back, and it's just great to sit and listen to those renditions. I think it really adds to the film on top of the brilliant Wes Anderson soundtrack that already exists in the movie. He does such a great job curating songs for his films. That was actually the way that I figured out about Sigur Rós, who has become one of my favorite bands over time. I managed to get to see them perform live, but the use of Staralfer in this movie is just incredible, and it made me love it even more. That scene is so brilliant, and Bill Murray's performance in that scene is phenomenal. Just all the quirky cast and characters in this film just make it so lovable. It's funny, it's hilarious, it's over the top, it's dramatic, it's heartwarming. And the end credits sequence to this film is one that I will always watch through all the way to the end, because I love it so much, and there's so much intricate detail brought into it, and I just cannot recommend this movie enough. It is my favorite Wes Anderson film. I don't think anything will ever surpass it, just because of how much I hold love for it, and I hope that other people love it as much as I do. So have you seen Life Aquatic? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. This is one of my favorite films of all time, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new videos and love hearing reactions from you guys about what films you like me to review. I've really been getting a lot of great engagement through the Criterion Corner, and I'm having fun making these videos. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.